I have done some interesting things this week. I took one for the team, and not only did I play the demo for Immortals Fenyx Rising, aka Gods and Monsters, which we're just going to call Gods and Monsters from this point onward, because fuck that name. It's too... I always forget. I have to read my notes like, it's Immortals, I don't know, whatever it's called. But not only did I play Ubisoft's Breath of the Wild clone demo, it's only available on Stadia. So the other day, I got to use Stadia for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, to play Immortals Fenyx Rising demo. So I'm going to first talk about Stadia real quick, and then I'll get to the demo, right? And to put this into perspective, I was not expecting to have a bad experience with Stadia because my internet's not terrible. For those of you wanting to know, I usually get around 100 to 150 down and around 50 up. So I'm in the higher class of internet, right, that Stadia's going for. So
look at you and your high tower.
I hate to brag, guys, but I have the great internet. It's just a shame I have nothing to play with the internet. It's great. It's fine. But we've got Immortals Fenyx Rising. Stadia, it surprisingly works. Like, I just thought it just wouldn't work. It's all right. The weird thing is I thought, and I was using keyboard and mouse, I should specify, I didn't use a controller. But with keyboard and mouse, the input delay, it's not like PlayStation Now. Whereas with PlayStation Now, when I streamed a game on PlayStation Now, I could feel the fucking input delay, and I'm like, this is nasty. I can't play it. It's just in my head. I can't get used to it. With this, I don't know if it was because it was a game that I haven't played before, but I didn't notice much of an input latency, really. So I guess it kind of works. So fair play to Google. It kind of works if you have good internet. Sometimes the quality really does dip, though. I'll tell you that much. Sometimes you'll be looking at a cutscene and it looks really pretty, and then all of a sudden the pixels come in, and then they just got creeping, and it looks like, you know, when you're playing a high-resolution video on YouTube or whatever, and then your internet just dies, and you get like the weird, like, pixelated, blurry shit because you're on auto. It does that essentially, and it all goes to hell. So it's weird. Stadia, I still don't understand Stadia. I don't understand what they're going for, because if it was like a Game Pass
its creative
thing...
director's weird takes.
Oh yeah, it's stupid fucking take of PR, yeah. Influencers and creators should be paying us to play the game. Like, yeah, okay.
If you stream it.
No, I can't wait to see how well that goes for you, Stadia. Especially when you have streaming built into your service. You dumb idiots. Okay.
To be fair, the rest of Stadia kind of distanced themselves from that dude's message there, so they're not all silly, it's just the one guy.
But yeah, I don't understand it. But no, Stadia is an actual service, I don't understand. It kind of works, yeah. But why I'd pay full price to stream a game on Google servers instead of just buying a physical copy on console, or buying just a digital copy on PC or console either, I don't understand it. If it was something like what Amazon's doing with Luna, is it Luma? I don't know what that's called.
I think it's Luma.
Luma, there you go, Luma. Or what Xbox is doing with Game Pass streaming, Project X Cloud, right? You're paying like a subscription fee and you're just streaming the games that you want, like Netflix. That to me makes sense for that kind of model. It makes more sense than, oh yeah, let me pay £50 for Red Dead Redemption 2 so that I can stream it off Google's servers. Like, it just doesn't seem like a good value proposition, so I don't understand it. But anyway, I'm moving on. So I played Fenyx Rising, Gods and Monsters, and I'll give it this. After playing Genshin, and being like, oh yeah, that's cool. I kind of came off with Fenyx Immortals Rising, going, oh, this is pretty cool too. It's actually, it's quite good. I'll give Ubisoft that. It's actually quite interesting. Basically, the whole story behind the demo, I don't know if it's the same in the full game, but essentially you're playing as Fenyx, who is this mortal girl who has basically been tasked with saving the gods because of some way or another. Basically, some enemy, I don't remember, some demon from mythology has kind of taken the gods away, and it's her job to kind of restore the gods back into their power. And the whole demo is basically basically the whole plot for the demo is Zeus, who is completely crazy and so up his own arse, is making up a fake story about Fenyx, which is the demo, and you just have like all the other gods going, no, this isn't right, this isn't what happened, what the hell are you on about? And I just thought that was a cool way to do a demo where it isn't just a chunk of the game, they made something fresh for it, and I was like, that's actually quite cool of them to do.
That is pretty funny.
It's like a weird merge of Breath of the Wild and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Those are the two. It's kind of the armor. It's the armor system and the stat system of Assassin's Creed, which I really don't like, mixed with a game that has a really nice looking world and it runs really well. It plays really well from what I've seen. The PC controls are garbage, so play it on controller. But this is like, I'm surprised that this is definitely going to be a game where it's like, I'm not going to buy it when it comes out, but if it ever goes on sale, I'd definitely be down to play this at some point because it's actually really interesting. And just the whole mythology around it, the idea that they just went, let's just fully go into the Greek mythology. Obviously, they really did love making Assassin's Creed Odyssey because they were like, what if we did it again, but Breath of the Wild? So it's really interesting. The art style's really nice. The combat is surprisingly really good. Again, it's a weird hybrid between Breath of the Wild and Genshin, where you don't have weapon degradation, but the combat's a lot closer to Breath of the Wild than Genshin. You have mapped abilities. Basically, your stamina bar allows you, during combat, to have different moves that are tied to different weapons that are based on the gods, essentially. So you can use some of your stamina during combat to like bring out a massive hammer and slam it down on people, or rain arrows straight up and chuck them all into the air and stuff like that. It's actually got some really cool stuff to it. Yeah. It's really interesting, and that was my thing. I was like, I'm playing this on Stadia and I'm having a good time. It's weird. Like, it's honestly a game where, don't get me wrong, I think everyone's going to overlook this game and I think no one's going to play it, but I feel like it's going to be one of those games that
I actually feel like this game has a strange amount of attention going into it. Like, I've heard people talk about it, and I'm sitting here going, I don't know why you care, honestly.
Same, but I don't know if that's just because
the people
Ubisoft
who make Assassin's Creed are going to try and make something like Breath of the Wild. You know what that sounds like? They're going to make Assassin's Creed again.
True, but it isn't. It is definitely closer to Breath of the Wild than it is Assassin's Creed. The only thing...
So the world actually doesn't feel like a checklist?
No. From what I've played, it doesn't. However, the demo was an extremely limited thing where I don't know if that changes when you get into the actual open world. It was like a separate island that you could explore yourself. And it very much did have quests in the vein of a more Western RPG, where it's go to X place to grab X thing, right? Or go over there. There's still those kind of quests where there's still a waypoint that you can go and do. But it does feel more open. It does feel like closer to Zelda than it does Assassin's Creed. The only thing that screamed Assassin's Creed to me was the armor system and the fact that you can, each armor thing has a number and you have an XP gauge and stuff like that.
Annoying.
Yeah, that was the more of the, that's the more Assassin's Creed style kind of thing coming through. But I've got to say, it was a game that I didn't care about, but I'll probably check it out eventually. I think there's something interesting there. I don't think people are just saying, oh, you should really be paying close, because a load of people have been saying pay a close attention to it, and everyone's just like, it's just a fucking Ubisoft game, get it out. But no, I actually think, this might actually be something. If it's not filled to the fucking brink with microtransactions and shitty Ubisoft bollocks that they usually like to pull, if it's not full of that, we might actually have something that's interesting here. So much so
for our Uplay account to get bonus costumes.
It did want me to. It did. It was like, thank you for playing the demo. Did you know that if you sign into your Uplay account, you'll have an exclusive demo outfit when you play the game, the main game? I'm like, no, not happening. But no, it's actually super interesting, and now I find it ironic that congratulations, gods and monsters. I care more about you than even that Assassin's Creed now. Like, literally, Ubisoft's releasing 3 games this year, and the one that's probably will do the best is the one I care about the least. It's great. Love to see it.
That's how it goes.
Gods and Monsters is supposed to be coming out this year.
Yeah, December. So
why are they releasing 3 games in the last 2 months of the year?
It's 3 games within a month and one's October 30th, one's November 10th, and the other one's December 9th. It's within like a month, essentially. It's within like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. and then Far Cry's in February. This is obviously Ubisoft was like, shit, we delayed all our games too much. Now we've just got to release a shit ton of them and just let them die. It's like when EA released Battlefield and Titanfall 2 in the same month.
Yeah, like the same. Like Titanfall was bookended by Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Yeah, no one, and it was a shame because that was the best game out of those three. It was kind of a shame. So salute to Titanfall 2. And again, I feel like 07's in the chat. I feel like it'd be interesting. I feel like Watch Dogs is the one that's going to take the bullet here, which is going to be a shame because I can guarantee Watch Dogs will definitely be the most interesting out of the three. But we'll see what happens. But no, Fenyx Immortals Rising is looking to actually be something that isn't garbage. So I can't wait to see the reviews and see how everyone likes it. And maybe one day we'll cover it on the show.